Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation of the WePlay Showmatch between Mousesports and RoX.KiS. The Radical Online extremists are going toe-to-toe with Mouse in this 5-game series. Each game having a $300 prize pool, 2 claimed by Mousesports, adding up to $600, while RoX.KiS still set at 1 win themselves. So going on into this 4th game here, we'll see who is going to take away another cash prize. The meta has developed quite a bit between these two teams. The draft has progressed, and now we'll see exactly what is considered first pick material in this matchup. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I myself am Blaze, and here is Skim Gaming. What's going on?
Hey man, it's good to be back. Yeah, as you mentioned, draft progressing. Already 2 different bans than we've seen in the previous games, Nakes and the Nature's Prophet taken out. That does leave the OD, the Outworld Devourer, one of, it seems like, RoX.KiS currently most favorite heroes. So he's left in the pool. Let's see if they're going to pick it up again.
Plenty of options. Alchemist is going to be the first pick here. Didn't work out so well in the supportive role for Mousesports, and they did claim it first pick. Didn't ban it out this time, though. It's going to be claimed by RoX. It's just a hero that really they love to pick up, generally putting it on BZZ, though, and trying to be aggressive with that. It worked decently in their try versus try at some stage, with the fact that, of course, they did get a couple kills very early on, with the fact that Alchemist just has so much base intelligence to start with. But it's just, as far as him played in a non-farming prioritization, it just doesn't really seem to click as much. But Mousesports pick up some interesting heroes themselves, claiming once again the Naga Siren, but on top of that, the Outworld Devourer, setting up for a very, very interesting start for the match. We could see Naga Siren played in either lane, aggressive, try, or defensive one, but most likely going to be a support, whereas OD is just going to do the best he can to shut down the mid lane.
Actually, the one time I've seen Mousesports run the OD was actually Black that picked it up. I'm not even sure if Feda was in that game. I think he was even missing, so maybe that was the reason for it. But it doesn't really have to be in the mid lane, but still, it's a really strong laner in general. Can deal a lot of damage, and yeah, most mid matchups are considered to be kind of in the favor of OD. There's only a few exceptions, one of them being the Lone Druid, that has been banned out by RoX.KiS themselves. They also take out the Gyrocopter, Mousesports banning the DK. DK also one of RoX.KiS heroes. Definitely fits the lineup with the Chen. They would have a decent amount of push, but no DK for them.
Not an option here. Curious to see if they're going to ban out support next, perhaps a Shadow Demon, I was about to say, and yeah, there it goes. So they won't have the Shadow Demon Alchemist combo. Probably going to go for the Bane, as last time. It wasn't perfect. The execution of it had some weaknesses, but I think they're still confident that the combination is not to be ignored. So they're going to go for a Rubik or a Bane here, most likely. Either way, Outworld Devourer and Visage are the pickups for Mousesports. So the Visage added to the lineup adds in that extra oomph. They are very commonly coupled together, Naga Siren and Visage, because the sheer amount of damage they can output in a very quick fashion, while still contributing quite a bit of disable, both Grave Chill and Ensnare. So you consider our early Medallion of Courage in conjunction with the Riptide. That's going to be setting up a lot of physical damage and quite a bit of Soul Assumption follow-up as well. But as I was looking at, Bane is going to be selected, and RoX have their 2.5 lane secured in the safe lane, but we'll have to see what they go for the solos.
Yeah, also interesting to see if Mousesports is going to run the aggressive trolling again. It did definitely work out for them in the last game, although the start kind of looked rocky, but as you mentioned, they gave away 2 kills. They eventually turned it around because they had the Gyrocopter, who was able to dish out a lot of damage with that Rocket Barrage on level 2. This time around, they won't have this hero. Maybe they are not considering aggressive trolling anymore, since 2 of the stronger laners on those trial lanes are gone with the Nyx and the Gyrocopter. And now they pick up a Tinker. A hero they also have ran on the trial lane, so maybe Tinker trial lane?
Yeah, and the question is whether the tri-lane is going to be aggressive or defensive. If they wanted to run, like you're saying, Black on the OD in the safe lane, run an aggressive try with Koikov on the Tinker, they could still work in a Beastmaster mid, which could be very, very good, because really, Koikova, he kind of uses the Hawk as a trampoline to get into a huge amount of farm, because he can pretty much just use it as a taxi service anywhere on the map. You move that Greater Hawk to the position you want to be, you can jump inside trees before Blink Dagger, you can farm, you can gank, you can do just about whatever you want. So we'll see if they do actually make that rotation, put OD safe, on with Black piloting him up, and then have Fata on the Beastmaster, or if they're going to try for something just a little bit different. Obviously, still one banning phase to go. RX have that option to take out, but right now they need something that has a really good mix of damage and durability, because getting caught out by a Siren ultimate is not going to be an option, but if you can't dish out enough damage to bring down the Tinker quickly, then you're just going to let him farm away until he's unstoppable.
I'd like RoX.KiS actually to pick up a Storm Spirit at this point. Before they dropped Solo and Dread, Storm Spirit used to be one of their favorite heroes. Clockwork works well as well. Just being able to pick off the Tinker when he's just being so elusive and jumping all around the map. So I think Tinker and Clockwork are two very strong heroes against that, because you have those long-range initiations, and that can punish Tinker when he doesn't have his blink doesn't have his blink dagger just yet. Even if he does have his blink dagger, a timely cast hook can definitely pick him off guard. So a good pickup here, but a Clockwork on the offlane again, if they do play the safe troll lane, could probably not see a lot of farm or XP.
So, what do you think should be the ban for Mousesports, considering the lineup they're up against?
They're looking at a mid hero to ban out. I still think banning out the Storm would be a viable option.
Okay.
I think RoX.KiS would have a good lineup. Storm being some sort of his semi-carry, being able to just dominate the mid game if he does have the space and the farm. But in general, I think Mousesports feel kind of confident right now to take on almost every hero, because they have a really solid lineup, a really scary one at that.
Yeah. With this, there are almost no wrong answers. You can kind of just work your way in, and no matter what ROX picks up, you can still feel pretty confident in your draft, and I think that's what Cinderin's considering right now, but still, just a little bit icing on the cake if you can shut down the hero pick that they were looking for. I'm not sure if they're so concerned about that Storm Spirit, though, because they can always just run the OD to counterlane it, play musical lanes until Storm has to 1v1 against them, and Storm has to be one of the worst heroes to go up against an OD 1v1.
That's true. That's very, very true. Being able to get rid of all the damage that the Storm has, taking all of the mana he has, basically. So, yeah, Mousesports also very flexible in their laning. I mean, we expect a Trallion with the Tinker on, but technically they could also just run the Tinker on the mid lane. Not really giving away too much information as of right now.
So, without the Nyx, they don't have to worry about those extensive mana burns on OD and Tinker. But the real question is, what do they end up picking up for their final solo selection? Obviously, the Naga, the Visage, and Tinker will be together. Do they want to pick up something that Black can take on the off lane? Or do they just want to give a safe lane hero or a mid lane hero so that Fata and Black can switch places? We'll have to see, but right now the Clinks is going to be the takeoff, and the Razor is going to be the selection. An interesting pickup here. The longer the fight goes on, the better off they're going to be. Static Link is still a very big factor. But beyond that, do you have any opinion on the Razor coming into play here?
I can only see it because OD and Razor kind of have great synergy. You just link someone, then imprison him, and you just keep on stealing his damage. In general, I don't think it needs. They really needed the Razor, but it definitely can be strong. And seeing him makes me think Tinker could also be a solo laner right now, because Razor works on a tri lane really well as well. But the Naga Siren net and the Link just still need so much damage. So again, Mousesports is really flexible in their laning right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's fun.
I really didn't see that one coming.
Very interesting. I mean, the silence can be effective. One big thing, his biggest limitation is he cannot stop TPs, and BOT Tinker is always going to have a TP, so that means that he himself is not going to be able to control Quackava. He's going to rely on the Bane and Clockwork to do that, and then he's going to go screw over other individuals. Like Black's Razor relies on movement speed quite a bit, often goes for phase boots Yasha, and eventually will max out the passive. And so with the unstable concurrent providing so much movement speed, not being able to use that is kind of frustrating and kind of a limiting factor. Either way, Bloodseeker, definitely a hero I feel is underrated, but in this case I see that they want to try to run him versus the OD. Essentially, the only real good option to run against an OD is right-click oriented heroes, because of the fact that you can't cast spells against a level 5 or higher Obsidian or Outworld Devourer. So that's going to be obviously a concern. But along with that, the one cool thing about the draft is Black also looking at a solo lane possibly could mean that they could just say, okay, well, if your Bloodseeker's mid, then we'll put the Razor mid to drain his damage, and then he can Thirst to heal himself, or Bloodbath to heal himself. So, it doesn't... Right now they're kind of grouping black towards the top lane, but wherever they settle will be interesting no matter how it plays out, though it does currently look like it is a safe lane OD for Fata, and a mid lane Tinker for Koikova, starting off with a null tally.
Yeah, it appears to be like this. I think this is solid laning. OD in general should probably win either lane he has, or he is on, but OD, one of the heroes that doesn't really necessarily go for bottle, whereas Koikova on his Tinker could definitely go for bottle, so probably putting him on the mid lane is a bit more effective, more efficient. And of course Black with his Razor on the trial lanes, they can be so strong. If they do get their combo off, they can deal so much damage. And RoX.KiS, they currently have a jungler, so for the first 1 or 2 minutes they will be most likely just 2 of them on the lane, so a slight window of opportunity where they have to be really careful. Advanced score already dewarding. I like this. Getting rid of the vision early on is really crucial, especially if you have a matchup in the mid lane, which you consider to be in the favor of the enemies. Just giving Hijackal this edge by having knowledge over the runes.
So, the pressure is on the top lane. BZZ actually cored out a Quelling Blade. I think it was debating between maybe a Stout Shield and Quelling Blade. Ended up going for the Quelling, which is a great pickup for greedy farm. But, I don't know, he can last hit under tower more effectively, but if he doesn't get to the creep wave, and if they don't know it properly, it still could be very disastrous for him. As far as the solo matchups...
Advanced score, Brave Chill.
Already, yeah, doing a lot to him, but of course it is only level 1. They don't... The big thing about both Visage and Naga Siren is I would have to say that they have quite considerable weaknesses prior to level 2. Level 2, they get both damage and disable. Level 1, they have to choose between one or the other.
Yeah, and Syndra opted to go for the Riptide, which I think is the better choice at this point. They didn't block the pull camp, so they expect Bane to pull and maybe contest the pull. And with the Riptide, it's a really good spell to have if you want to get the farm on that pull yourself. So, good choice here.
Interesting action down bottom is the Clockwork actually getting close enough to do a little bit of battery assault action, then doing a little drain with his Cog. So, some nice maneuvers by Tron. I've seen Tron do Clockwork a couple times over, and it's definitely some of the better play that I've seen on that hero. So, looking forward to when he actually does get his ultimate and starts moving about the map, because he doesn't really want to stay in this lane for too long, unless somebody else makes that rotation for him. Still a lot of damage going back and forth up top. Unsaved Concoction will come out onto Cinder here. They get a Wild Wing. A lot of damage comes out. Alchemist going to get the first blood here. So, BZZ may not be farming creeps as much as he would like to, but getting the first blood certainly makes up for that. However, we have seen them get that advantage, and then with some good rotation, some good movement, accidentally throw that away as well.
Yeah, but nice rotation coming out from Yol, especially with this Wildkin. Also nice Concussion and Nightmare, so... This is something they really need on this lane, even though, as you mentioned, Mouse, they came back last game as well, so nothing to be worried about. And Black already looking, sitting on top of the farm, even though he's had only one last hit.
So, starting things off, the Wild Wing, it's not the highest potential gank creep. I mean, obviously, most creeps would have done in that situation, but still, it's very nice to have been able to get that slow and damage, not only on the target, but a little bit of harassment on anybody who tried to help him out. So, it helped out. It definitely contributed to the kill, though it might not have been necessary, just with the positioning that he was in the first place. Either way, they go for the Sentry Ward. Unfortunately, it won't really work out for them, as there is already a Sentry in place by Yul.
Yeah, that was slightly unfortunate. They tried to block this camp, not successfully, so... In the meantime, Koika snagged a few times the ancient camp, actually only once. Now skilling much of the machines, not even putting one level in Rocket. So wants to farm those ancients quite fast and get those BTs up as soon as possible.
That, and also looking to make sure his laser is as efficient as possible. Well, there is, of course, a kill up top while I'm discussing that, but the big thing is, of course, he still needs to farm with March, but he wants to laser Bloodseeker frequently. If you laser him, you can prevent him from healing from Bloodbath, and then, of course, you get a ton of extra harassment damage on top of that. So the build-up here, starting with Bottle, maybe even moving it towards Soul Ring before actually going for the BOTs themselves. Either way, Tinker, Nightmared up, but going to be able to walk away from this situation. Bloodseeker not having his Rupture yet.
Even forcing out a rotation from Chen. So they really wanted to get a kill there. Koika, though, getting away. And a bit of movement wasted here, but that's not hurting them anyway. In the meantime, on the bottom lane, Feda, can he actually go for a kill? Nah, he's full HP. Actually, he traps himself in the cogs as well.
A lot of damage actually coming out onto Tron. The big thing there, of course, that he didn't have enough mana for Battery Assault. Actually, Bloodseeker going here. No, not a big deal. But, yeah, the fact that he couldn't do Battery Assault meant that it's actually more favorable for OD to be in that position in melee range, surprisingly, just because of how much he can output. Looks like they want to go on Black again, but he's charging that Concoction. They're not even getting Rage for Grave Chill, so not actually going to be able to make that happen for themselves. Either way, they have some really good control here. They do finally have that Sentry Ward active. They were able to bring down the one placed by Yola, or it did expire. One way or another, they have a lot more control of this position on the enemy's pull.
And Black is even looking to harass this Chen, and he should catch up sometime.
Boots, oh wow, he has a huge move speed advantage right now. 345 versus 300. He should be able to get the kill outright. Yola just going to lose all this damage. Concoction, though, is going to turn things around nicely. Black taking a lot of damage, ruptured up, and this is going to be a nice little kill. Bloodseeker going to pick it up, get a little bit of healing, but most importantly, getting the ball rolling for his gank potential.
Yeah, slightly overextending there. Not sure if it's worth to get a kill on a jungler and giving away a kill to the enemy mid hero, especially since Black is the team's carry. But still, it was nice to attempt at least getting a solo kill on support, and in the meantime, Passies gets concussioned up. And yeah, Brave Chills. He's dead.
Yeah,
last
right-clicks. He does try to salve through it. Actually is going to live for a little bit longer. They turn it around nicely. If Paz can just hide in the trees, he does. He will survive through this. They get 2 kills out of it, just hiding out, getting a salve right when the Alchemist was ensnared out of melee range. He couldn't get the right-click off to take off the salve, and within an inch of his life, Paz able to get on out of there, thanking his lucky stars that he just didn't fall to the previous right-clicks. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, even more good news for them, Tron was taken down. A solo kill without even using OD's ulti. He just got enough right clicks in, had him prisoned up with like 1 hit from death, and was able to kill him under his own tower.
Yeah, without even 1 point in Arcane Orb, so probably a slight misplay by Tron, because I don't think you should be, you should die to this without 1 level Orb, and in the meantime Black playing slightly aggressive here again.
Yeah.
Concussion is up.
It's the only disable remaining though. The body blocks have to be sufficient. Test of Faith, unstable Concoction. He has Magic Wand. I don't know. He will try to delay the inevitable, but he does drop down in the end. Chen taking the last hit. Now
again, a bit aggressive. Oh, they spot out quite well.
Yeah, they actually get the rupture off. He doesn't have a TV scroll, and he is in a terrible, terrible spot. Koikova can go on the run. He gets silent so he can't laser. Chasing him down, but Paz does get this Grave Chill off. No body blocks, though, and it's going to be enough for him to dive and finish the job. So he will be able to run another. Now trying to put some damage into Paz, but I'm not sure how tanky he is for that. Now, baiting him into the hook shot. Perfect maneuver. Caught in the cogs, and they should be able to finish him off here, no problem. Yeah, High Jekyll, though, if he doesn't get a part in this kill, he will get dropped. And they do get a defensive... Oh, my gosh. Is he going to... No, he doesn't get out again. But if they got that defensive Astral Prison and they saved him with an inch of his life once more, I would be just so darn impressed. But either way, still nice attempt. And they do clean up 2 kills in return. And, of course, pop off the short cooldowns of Rupture and the hookshot.
Still not too bad from RoX.KiS. They baited out, or at least they forced out, I think, 4 TPs in total. Or at least 4 heroes in total. So nice from them, and getting a kill on Koika is really important at this stage of the game, putting him far away from his Boots of Travel. As you mentioned earlier on, ideally he actually even picks up Soul Ring before the Boots of Travel, but this time I think he has to go for Boots of Travel as well.
Is that just because of the rupture factor, do you think? Or actually, speaking of Black getting ruptured up, it doesn't have the passive, so it doesn't even slow down Bloodseeker as he closes in for the kill. Blood for the Blood God, but it's actually going to Bane, who himself is made of bloody ichor, so I guess it all plays out in the end. Down at bottom are a decent bit of damage from Battery Assault, but Bata in no real danger.
And Feda buying that buckler. Let's see if this is actually just a casual buckler, or if this is actually going to be a mech. I've seen Dendi just pick up a buckler, just to be able to press it and get a chance to trigger your mana pool. Which is really nice. It doesn't cost too much. The aura is still really nice, the armor aura. And yeah, if you get mana on OD, it's going to be very crucial.
So, one thing to take into consideration is that Koikova still is yet to go for a TP scroll. and he's still trying to farm those agents, which they pinged out multiple times. They've obviously scattered with Rocket Flare, and they seem intent on keeping him away from. So Bloodseeker in that position now, Hijackal just waiting for him, but it might actually bite off more than he chewed. Up on top, though, the kill is going to go from Alchemist to Visage, now chasing down Yol, but can't close the distance here. Going to change his target over BZZ, or just fall back entirely. They got so close to finishing off Bane, but the Brain Sap kept him up, and he gets to walk away.
Well, Syndron, in the meantime, finds Hijackal, but neither of them wants to spend a skill here. Hijackal ideally gets a pick off on Koikra, but was looking for it, as you mentioned, not finding it. Picks up Phase Boots. You don't usually see Bloodseeker that often in competitive play. What do you expect him to buy in terms of items?
Most likely a Phase Yasha buildup. That is going to be able to give him the movement speed he needs. Maybe he could go for a Shadow Blade. That is also definitely an option. BZZ up top gets a very powerful concoction off. Going to try to tank up the tower with the neutral creeps. But even with the Rocket Flare, they don't feel confident in that. So they do fall back here. But yeah, I would say Shadow Blade, Yasha. I mean, eventually he will go BKB, of course. But right now, just kind of holding that line. Actually, stun coming out on BZZ.
Tron is coming in from behind. They could look to backstab this. Bloodseeker is in the... Well, no, actually. Well, he was looking to get top, but turned around again. And yeah, looks like they can't really decide where to go on.
It's because really, there's right now Mousesports is kind of impenetrable. Like what the position that they're in with the ensnare, they're going to be able to guarantee at least one person overextended. They have a couple of stuns with the familiars, and yeah, you can definitely get some kills out of it, but it's just as risky if OD TPs with a good Sanity's Eclipse. Another time, BZZ just wants somebody to step a little bit too far forward so he can luck out on the stun, but either way, he'll heal it up with his ultimate in a moment.
And BZZ is still going for the Midas. It's not going to be as late as it was last game, but still surprising to see it. So once again, not a direct mid-game approach, but rather some sort of safe... oh, looks like they want to engage on him.
Still can't do it, especially with Chemical Rage active. If it was expired, it'd be a different story.
And Koikra, oh, he just escaped. Just TP'd in time. And he's very close to his Boots of Travel.
Fortunate. So yeah, the Bloodseeker is going to be going for that Yasha first, and that'll give him movement speed to close the distance and stay on target. Of course, without like going for like something silly like a Basher Rush, he's not going to be able to guarantee that the BOT Tinker is going to be locked down, but that's what allies are for, right? Anyways, a nice ensnare is setting up this kill. They go for Stoneform 1, Stoneform 2, doing a lot of damage, and BCZ will drop. However, Fiend's Grip on Syndron should bring him down as well. Now, Tron coming in, looking for the hookshot to finish off Black. He's quite quick on his feet, but hookshot just lands out on the easier target. Pause will be finished off while I believe Black will try to TP. No, gets ruptured up and too much damage oncoming. So Pause will clean up one kill in return, and of course they did get the Alchemist in the first place, but that's still 3 down for 2.
Yeah, in the meantime though, Fada takes a tier 1 tower on the bottom lane, finished up the mech. Boots of Travel now finished up on Koikra, so these two solo laners got all the crucial items they wanted, or at least a few of those they wanted, and I think Mouse will take this trade.
Yeah, they are definitely advancing their position in the game as a whole, with Fanta being able to rotate with the mechanism now and feel confident in that. Just going to get some tread soon for some extra HP to work with. Now, one thing to consider is the interesting matchup between the OD and the Bloodseeker when it comes down to mid-game, and that's Silence. The Silence is currently sitting over at rank 1, so it is just used for Silence, not really for that bonus damage. But the big thing to keep in mind is that if the OD toggles his orb beforehand, then he doesn't really have to worry about it nullifying his Arcane Orb, and he can still get the bonus damage along with the Arcane Orb. He just can't prison or use the ultimate.
Yeah, in general, who do you think should be the primary target of this Silence from the Bloodseeker?
I mean, obviously, if you can pick off Tinker, it'd be superb. But in this situation, I would just say if the Sagasar and Healthy hasn't come on through, and you're close enough to get it on her, it's best to silence her so that they cannot change the fight up entirely. Hand of God popped up to try to keep the action on top a lot, but the Rupture comes out onto Fata. He does have a mechanism to keep himself up, but can't TP because of Tron's presence. Now caught in the Battery Assault, but here comes Cinder to try to turn around, and the cogs don't connect. He's trapped in right next to him. Though, there is that silence at work. Not on Cinder, though. Of course, it does nullify the Rocket Flare, but here comes that March, and the self-stun is completely nullified. So, Tron will definitely die, but will they be able to get more casualties? BZZ going for the TP, but gets prisoned, and is going to be finished off. Bloodseeker, the only one to escape.
Very nice rotation coming out from Mousesports. Getting Kvoikva and Synderen in there was really important. Most of all, Synderen, of course, with that Song of the Siren. Otherwise, Feda would have been dead, definitely. But this way, they turned around a gank and got 2 kills. So really nice for them, especially since they got a kill on BZZ, whose Midas is off cooldown. It's really a small thing, but it does hurt his farm. So nice movement from them. And looking at the gold and experience graph, gold-wise, they definitely had 3.5 gold. Not 3.5 gold, 3.5k gold ahead. And experience-wise, not too much, but I think that's negligible.
Wow, the experience graph is actually pretty interesting. It's gone back and forth. Of course, they have almost tied up on kills, but yeah, it's just been little opportunities here. Okay, that's one definite target. Yeah, she was farming the jungle. Synderen was farming way too low, and that vision, Thirst, was actually maxed out. So he has a 6,000 radius, seeing targets that are that low, and capitalize on it pretty quickly. But yeah, as a whole, the experience has been kind of a roller coaster ride, but it really comes down to who wins those fights and big engagements. Either way, right now, big pickup is the Mechanism, already up on Fata, but almost up on Yol. Actually tested facing back Hygical, just so that he can probably TP to the front line somewhere else.
Yeah, he now finishes up that Yasha as well, sitting on 600 gold. He's doing quite well for himself. Has been involved in 7 out of the 11 kills, so yeah, definitely making something out of it. Oh, bottom lane.
Trying.
Looks like they want to, they're trying, but won't get there.
And that's the difference between a 4-staff OD and a Mechanism OD, is that range of initiation and just not being able to actually close the distance on the target. So he still has a great defensive potential, and it definitely was him to be the best target to pick it up because Synderen took way too long last time. But generally speaking, the Mechanism on the OD does sap some of his potential in the offensive sense.
Yeah, but it's most likely he's going to pick up the 4-staff as the next item, so next time around it will be a different story. But in the meantime, Hijackal, or the whole of RoX.KiS, actually assembling here on this top lane. Looks like they want to push here, and I think Mousesports can defend this. Yeah, Kvoikva already TPing to this tier 2 tower, so they do want to fight this.
Maxed out March of the Machines available, trying to push them off, but BZZ's ready to rumble. Actually just lost his Chemical Rage, but of course has a very powerful stun if he can just get in right position. Actually killing spree in the mid lane. Not sure what Razor was doing there, but obviously not committing to this fight up top. So they're going to push in the mid lane a little bit, but this gives an opening down up on top. Test of Faith comes out on the Bane, should be enough to keep him up, and actually forget if that stops it, 100%. That did stun him back, so no big deal. But they cleaned up the Chen, who initially sent out that test, and at least get 1 for their trouble, costing them Razor, and about to be a tier 1.
Yeah, it's the right move from Hijackal and the Clockwork. Just split pushing, and oh, he got the gun. But can they kill him? That's the question.
I think so. He has a lot of movement speed. Actually, no, the Bane is coming in, so if the Synderen was able to get the ensnare off before that silence came out, it would be a completely different story. But in that position there, no way to get anything. Vanscore gonna Fiend's Grip out onto Black, and that's gonna give an opportunity for them to right click him down a little bit. Still, Vanscore taking a lot of hits, and with the Urn and the right clicks, it should be enough to finish him there. Still going for the Rupture onto Black. Magic once, he might man up. Yes! He does do it! Wow! He still dies, but the fact that the Bloodseeker fell is a really big deal because, of course, if you start having a bunch of low HP targets close to him and he just barely nabs that kill, he's going to be able to regenerate a bunch of HP and then go for the next target and the next target until it's a triple kill.
And the Chen ultimate just came out, like a second after the Bloodseeker died. He popped the Hand of God.
For our heals.
Yeah, really poor. But anyway, interesting. Actually, oh, Feda just messing with me. He picked up a Blink Dagger and resold it.
Dagon. Wait, no, he's just having fun now. There's no way that he's actually going to keep... Is this serious?
Dagon and 2 smokes. And he sold the smokes again, and he buys them.
I'm not even going to look at that. It's just too distracting.
Yeah. Oh, Feda. But yeah, he keeps the Dagon, though.
He still has
legit
the Dagon.
item, I guess. But yeah, I would have definitely preferred the 4-staff. Oh, Synderen. Nah, can't pursue this.
The big question, as always, when such items are on the field, is how quickly the BKBs come out. I mean, obviously Alchemist and Bloodseeker are great BKB carriers, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think the BKB on Alchemist will be delayed quite heavily. I mean, he picks up the Shadow Blade now, and I think I kind of doubt that the BKB is going to be the next item, even though I think it should be. Let's see. Oh, smoke! It was immediately detected.
But that gives them an opportunity to go on this here. The issue is, of course, that there are a couple trolls to lock somebody down, and Clockwork is nearby, trying to break up the party with the hookshot and the cogs. So right now, nobody going in too deep just yet, but bunched up. They look like they're going for a push, but I really don't think they can take a tier 2 in this position.
Yeah. In the meantime, Koifa just split pushing. He himself, though, picked up a blink. This item definitely makes sense on him, and he's looking to spiral out of control in terms of farm, even though Feda is still doing better than him.
Yeah, surprisingly, amazing net worth on Feda. He's currently sitting at 101 CS, and most importantly, 4-0-1 in KDA. Tron from the high ground, overlooking, but as far as dire vision, they actually didn't realize that he reflexively knocks Black down the cliff. Would have been pretty interesting if we actually caught him inside the cogs. Would have lost some damage, but there might have been an opportunity to follow up. Either way, the smoke is in the direction of the bottom lane, trying to kind of flank the gank. Waiting in the wakes. They're going to go in, turn around, wrap around gank is the name of the game. Coming on in. But the tier 2 tower has already fallen.
And he calls the IG.
Fada taking a lot of damage, but there's a beautiful song to keep him up and kicking, and there is a big ultimate that can come out from Fada in just a second. Buyback from the Tinker, though. He is going to try to come back into this, and BCC getting wrecked so quickly. There's that Sandy's Eclipse. Hand of God, Mechanism, keeping him sustained. Is it going to be enough here? Fiend's Grip goes across, but immediately prisoned. They are in pursuit, trying to bring down Yol. Synderen with the Riptide finishes the job on the back end. The Bloodseeker trying to do what he can, but did get out safely, just popping the Rupture and running on out of there.
Yeah, and much like IG, this smoke gang wasn't that successful. I mean, to be fair, they did get a kill on Koika, but in return they lost 3 heroes, even though Koika had to buy back, or at least he did buy back. But yeah, RoX.KiS, it was a nice attempt, but giving away 3 kills at this stage of the game, not too great. They're losing map control by the minute, losing the tier 2 on the bottom here. Really crucial when it comes to taking Roshan in a few minutes, and I think this is going to be Mousesports' approach after they take the tier 2 middle. Take Roshan next.
So the tier 2 is dropping pretty quickly. They have Tinker to follow up on it, but there is the hookshot available, only rank 1. Goes for the cogs, is just trying to get himself out of a terrible position. Over towards the high ground, now Black going right on top of Bane, stealing as much damage as possible. Nightmare expires, the Alchemist barely gets the stun off on Fata. Gonna be able to finish him off, but dropping very low. Mechanism keeps him up for the moment. Tron gonna get dropped down from Black's right clicks. Enfeeble versus the static link buff. He actually doesn't finish him. Now, Fonscore in a very aggressive position, but not paying for it just yet. He has the Brain Sap to heal himself, but BZZ stunning out Koikva, gonna be able to finish him off with the help of Fonscore. They do, in turn, kill the Bloodseeker.
But this was a much better fight for RoX.KiS. They lost the Bloodseeker, but they got kills on Koikva and Feda, the 2 top farmers in the game. And of course, getting a kill on Koikva at this stage of the game is really nice. He's still very far away from having his Sheep Stick or his Scythe of Ice, if it's the next item for him. So yeah, really good fight for RoX.KiS, even though they lost the tower in the mid lane. But I think they'll take this trade any day. And the chat goes nuts over the IG, like smoke.
Not every day you get to see yet again a kind of a half remake of that. Not even close as far as the hero composition, but it's still a little bit of fun. Of course, never can. It's gonna. I honestly am afraid that we will never be able to get a moment as epic as that, considering how Naga Siren was in the meta at that time period, and just how frustrating it was, and how unbeatable it seemed. And that moment will go down in history. But anyways. Still, the game ensues. We see a significant advantage for Mousesports. 10,000 gold, almost 7,500 on experience, pushing up on the top lane. Rocket Flare to counter push, but beyond that, they don't have much going for them. Acid Spray, no, Alchemist is down in the mid lane.
Yeah, and this is going to be the last outer tower for RoX.KiS. They just lost an enormous amount of map control. They don't have any control over their own jungle. They have 1 ward at the entrance, which is kind of nice, but still not enough. And I think really Mousesports should pressure Roshan at some point in the next 5 minutes. Get a pick off and then maybe take Rosh. I feel like they have the sufficient amount of map control for that.
Sure, actually gonna get a pick off here. Chen in a terrible spot, and they should be able to just burn him down quickly. Yol incinerated before even the soul assumption comes across. Now BZZ, he was playing with fire in his position on the mid lane, but he did have the Shadow Blade, and the only one with detection right now is Synderin. So not the worst situation to be in, and wow, Koikova in a very, very rough spot, but Down 7 Concoction does not connect. Instead the BOTs speed him away to safety.
Does the stun still follow him? I kind of want to see it.
Long range. He's actually going to go back top. That's hilarious. I forgot. Tinker bouncing all over the map. That stun's going to have a very long day. But one day it'll hit him, like 20 minutes from now. Either way, some nice counterwards coming in from Vonscore. And that's going to be resetting him. And the map control that you were kind of talking about there.
And Fada, in the meantime, upgrading his Dagon. And Radiant's career actually fell. Oh my god. Where did it die? Oh, here. Yeah, Alchemist got a kill on the courier. Luckily for them, there was nothing on him, on it, so still a nice pickup for the Alchemist. Looks like Mousesports want to pressure this bottom lane.
It's doing a very good job of it at the moment, but RoX.KiS looking for their opening. They need to get a good hook, and then they need to follow it up with a healthy Bane in the right position to get a long-term disable, but they're already sitting below half HP from this Tinker, Rocket, and March harassment. And now this tier 3 is about to drop. Fortifications on cooldown. This is going to be a dead tier 3, and now they're fighting on open ground. We'll see if Tron can get the biggest hook of his life. Needs to separate this fight properly, but blink away from Tinker. And now they're all kind of grouped up. There it is. Jumping on top of Cinder, trying to stop the song. She won't be able to get it. She is silenced up, but they lose Clockwork, they lose Alchemist, and Bane is about to fall. Now trying to drop down. The Bloodseeker still too quick on his feet. Oh, Soul Assumption! Yes, it is enough to finish him off there, along with some rockets. Alchemist bought back, was able to bring down the Razor, but setting up Fada for a triple, almost an ultra. He buys a Dagon. Are you serious? He buys a Dagon from the base and an upgrade, and I thought he was going to use it there to just zap him in the face, but didn't need it. Just sitting on Dagon 4. I thought he was
also looking for a rampage, but sadly no RoX.KiS player was alive.
Not enough buyback. But still, that's kind of funny. I really thought he was just going to like buy up as powerful a Dagon as possible and just sock it to him. But either way, they are in just such a great commanding position here. Even without the Song of the Siren, they just show that they have more right click, they have more sustain, and as I mentioned before, Black, the longer the fight goes on, the more power he has. Now Tron jumping on top of Fata, but 2 stone forms? No stone forms. Just coming off cooldown in a few seconds, but Fata could care less. Laser's too strong.
Indeed it is, indeed it is. And pew 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 on the whole team currently. Oh, they want to re-engage on Vonscore. Vonscore, Medallion up, and Soul Assumption, not enough damage just yet.
So, a little bit of loopy fights. They're going to try to go on Bloodseeker to finish him off. They do have a heck of a lot of Soul Assumption damage. Fata, by the way, pursued the Bane all the way back to the fountain to try to bring him down. But looks like, at least for the moment, Yol and Hydrogol might be able to bring down Koikwa. He can't get his VOTs off without rearm, and they actually finish him off. Now Hydrogol in a pretty bad spot. He needs to phase out right this very second, but fully path blocked, and is getting stunned up instead. The net came across as well as those stone forms, and that's all she wrote on that one.
And in the meantime, BZZ took down Fada. Might go down to Black here though. Unless, nice hookshot.
Very nice.
And yep, Black.
That is too deep.
Futile attempt from Synderin, popping the Song of the Siren. And he has to be careful, there's another concussion. Actually no, not enough mana.
Not for the moment. AC finally finished, but I don't think it's going to pull them out of this one. There's just too much magic damage they don't have an answer for, and really, they're just having trouble getting 2 heroes out of their base. Like, this is just ridiculous. Pause and Cinder may drop down here, but at what cost?
Yeah, they're just having fun right now. Koikwa even keeping back in, and he's just going to go haywire under them. There it is.
It never ends.
Once. And Synderin, he drops here as well.
So, bloodbath all over the Dire Steps, but it almost seems like it's just too far gone.
Yeah, at the moment 15 or actually 16k ahead in terms of gold, Mousesports that is, and 12k in terms of experience. They are looking really good, and do I dare say it's basically technically over for them, or for RoX.KiS rather. Oh, see? Nah, he's, yeah, looks like Hijackal is going to pick up a BKB. It's a nice item to pick up. At the same time, Koikwa picks up a Scythe of Vice.
Surprised he didn't have that already, to be honest. I guess it's because he hasn't been pushing out his lanes with March, and he has been receiving a little bit of pressure from the Bloodseeker, so all in all, it's just him not really focused on his more common style, which is just gradually taking over the map, doing some good ancient stacks, farming waves, and just pushing in constantly. So instead, he's in this position where he finally does get his sheep, and he can use it to great effect, but if they had this 5 minutes ago, they probably would have already finished it off. But like we're saying, this is a show match with a little bit of fun here and there. BKB does come out, but right now, I'm sure Mouse feels very, very confident about their position.
Yeah, even Pass picks now up a Dagon. Oh, nice hookshot into black.
Even better song. Just pulling him out of it. Tron in a bad spot now. They're going to be able to ensnare him, but the cogs will at least come through. And that could screw over Cinderin a little bit underneath the tower. Rupture comes out onto Fata, but he does have so much durability for the moment. And, oh, actually, Hyde four-staffs him, right-clicks him, finishes him off, and now Bloodseeker's kind of going crazy. Going for Koikova. Not going to be able to finish him off, though. Just has to go on the run. Ensnare coming out in 1 second. Not fast enough.
They do get a kill on Fada, but looking at the current status on RoX.KiS side, I think this should be a tier 3 tower. Actually, BCZ wants to go back in.
Gets the stun out on black, but that's really all he can accomplish here, getting Testaface back home. He's just trying to be irritating, trying to delay it. But oh, Courier, what is Courier doing?
It's just Fada. He's just trying to throw them the bone. Just come on, guys, take the Courier.
And his Dagon recipe. Well then.
Oh well.
What does Spider-Man have to do with it?
I'm not sure, but it's GG, and yeah, definitely it's GG. I don't think that RoX.KiS can come back from this.
Wait,
really
Mouse
like
called it first. They better cancel that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the officials will take it in that way. But anywho.
They do defend valiantly. But to be honest, I mean, looking at the item pickups, Mousesports hasn't really taken it seriously for the past, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes, actually.
That starts to become a little bit obvious. But, you know, it's all in good fun. These guys practicing for some serious games, and then trolling around for the remainder. It's not a big deal. It's just about the entertainment, really. In the end, it's a video game, and why not have some fun with it? So, they do take this away very effectively. I'm just looking at the Golden Experience. They've had control of the game for quite some time. And, there we go.
They're not sure about whether this was the GG just yet. Tron wants to fight on.
Tron alone will try to persevere. There, he's sheeped up. Little Piggy Goblin. Or whatever the frick. He's a Keen now, I guess, but yeah. That is gonna be the 4th game in the books here. Again, we are going through 5 full games in this series to see who has the most medal and can take away the most cash out of this tournament here. Not even tournament, it's just a full show match. And with that $300 per game, that means Mousesports adds up their prize pool to $900. RoX still sitting on $300, and the last game will be coming out. So I don't know if this was available for betting in Dota 2 Lounge. I assume that means that if it was, that this counts as them winning the match, because they did get 3, they did get the majority. But as it is a fun little show match, we're going to go on into the 5th game anyways, and one of the 2 teams will have a chance to add that 300. So see you in the next game come up in just a few minutes, guys. Mousesports vs. RoX.KiS playing a fun little Dota, not exactly the most serious, but gotta blow off some steam before TI, where it just is serious business. So very fun to cast it up for you guys, and we will be going on into this 5th one and see what is in store. But we appreciate you guys for tuning on in to Beyond the Summit and checking out this WePlay show match between Mouse and RoX.KiS. Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you guys enjoyed the commentary, please feel free to check us out as commentators on social media over at twitter.com/blazecasting and twitter.com/skimgaming. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys on the next one.